Ever wondered what happens when the internet darkens and the rules change? You're not alone. Many of us have heard of the dark web, but few understand what it really is and what happens when we venture into its depths. As we explore the worst crimes committed on the dark web, we'll uncover a world that's both fascinating and frightening. To start, let's talk about what the dark web is. It's not a separate entity from the internet we use every day, but rather a part of it that's not indexed by search engines like Google. This means that without special tools, it's extremely difficult to access the dark web. Imagine trying to find a specific book in a massive library, but the librarian doesn't have a catalog system. You'd have to know exactly where to look, or you'd be searching forever. The dark web is often associated with illicit activities, and for good reason. It's a haven for cybercrime, where hackers and scammers operate with relative anonymity. From identity theft to ransomware attacks, the dark web has seen its fair share of malicious activity. But, as you might expect, it's not all about crime and corruption. The dark web also has legitimate uses, such as protecting sensitive information and allowing whistleblowers to share their stories anonymously. One of the most significant legitimate uses of the dark web is secure communication. Imagine being able to send an email or message without worrying about it being intercepted or read by unwanted parties. This is exactly what the dark web enables, allowing people to communicate securely and privately. It's like having a private chat room that's invisible to the outside world. But, as we'll explore in this video, the dark web's legitimate uses are often overshadowed by its darker side. From human trafficking to child exploitation, the dark web has been used to facilitate some of the most heinous crimes imaginable. We'll delve into these stories, examining the worst crimes committed on the dark web and what we can learn from them. As we navigate the dark web, it's essential to stay safe. With so many malicious actors lurking in the shadows, it's easy to get caught up in the excitement and forget about the potential dangers. But, as we'll see, the risks are very real. From phishing scams to malware attacks, the dark web is a minefield just waiting to be triggered. So, how we stay safe while exploring the dark web? It's not a matter of being paranoid or overly cautious, but rather understanding the risks and taking steps to mitigate them. We'll cover some essential tips and best practices for navigating the dark web securely, from using VPNs to avoiding suspicious links. As we continue our journey into the dark web, we'll uncover a world that's both fascinating and frightening. We'll explore the worst crimes committed on the dark web, from cybercrimes to human trafficking, and examine the ways in which we can stay safe while exploring this mysterious world. So, let's dive in and see what we can discover. One of the most significant challenges when exploring the dark web is understanding the different types of content available. From online marketplaces to secure communication platforms, the dark web is a vast and complex ecosystem. It's like trying to navigate a new city without a map. You need to know where you're going and how to get there. Let's take a closer look at some of the most popular types of content on the dark web. We have online marketplaces where you can buy and sell everything from counterfeit goods to illicit substances. Then there are secure communication platforms, which allow users to exchange messages and files without fear of interception. And finally, there are the darknet forums, where users can discuss everything from politics to hacking techniques. As we explore these different types of content, it's essential to remember that the dark web is a constantly evolving beast. New platforms and marketplaces emerge every day, and old ones disappear just as quickly. It's like trying to keep up with the latest fashion trends. You need to stay ahead of the curve or risk being left behind. But, as we'll see, the dark web's evolution is not just about new platforms and marketplaces. It's also about the people who use them, the hackers, scammers, and cybercriminals who operate in the shadows. We'll examine some of the most notorious dark web figures, from the infamous Silk Road founder to the masterminds behind some of the most sophisticated cyber attacks. As we delve deeper into the dark web, we'll uncover a world that's both fascinating and frightening. We'll explore the worst crimes committed on the dark web, from cybercrimes to human trafficking, and examine the ways in which we can stay safe while exploring this mysterious world. So, let's keep moving forward and see what we can discover. The dark web is a world of contradictions, a place where anonymity and security coexist with crime and corruption. It's a world that's both exhilarating and terrifying, where the rules of the regular internet don't apply. As we explore the worst crimes committed on the dark web, we'll see the darker side of human nature, the side that's driven by greed, lust, and a desire for power. But, as we'll also see, the dark web is not just about crime and corruption. It's also about the people who use it, the whistleblowers, activists, and ordinary citizens who use the dark web to communicate securely and protect their identities. We'll examine some of the most compelling stories of dark web use, from the NSA leaks to the anonymous hacking collective. As we navigate the dark web, it's essential to remember that it's not a separate entity from the regular internet. It's a part of the same ecosystem, but with its own unique rules and players. We'll explore some of the ways in which the dark web intersects with the regular internet, from phishing scams to malware attacks. One of the most significant ways the dark web intersects with the regular internet is through phishing scams. These scams involve sending malicious emails or messages that trick users into divulging sensitive information, such as passwords or credit card numbers. We'll examine some of the most common phishing scams and how to avoid them. As we continue our journey into the dark web, we'll uncover a world that's both fascinating and frightening. We'll explore the worst crimes committed on the dark web, from cybercrimes to human trafficking, and examine the ways in which we can stay safe while exploring this mysterious world. So, let's keep moving forward and see what we can discover. The dark web is a world of shadows and secrets, where the truth is often hidden behind layers of deceit and misdirection. It's a world that's both captivating and repulsive, where the lines between good and evil are constantly blurred. As we explore the worst crimes committed on the dark web, we'll see the darker side of human nature, the side that's driven by greed, lust, and a desire for power. But, as we'll also see, the dark web is not just about crime and corruption. It's also about the people who use it, the whistleblowers, activists, and ordinary citizens who use the dark web to communicate securely and protect their identities. We'll examine some of the most compelling stories of dark web use, from the NSA leaks to the anonymous hacking collective. As we navigate the dark web, it's essential to remember that it's not a separate entity from the regular internet. It's a part of the same ecosystem, but with its own unique rules and players. We'll explore some of the ways in which the dark web intersects with the regular internet, from phishing scams to malware attacks. One of the most significant ways the dark web intersects with the regular internet is through malware attacks. These attacks involve using malicious software to compromise a user's device or network, often for nefarious purposes. We'll examine some of the most common malware attacks and how to avoid them. As we continue our journey into the dark web, we'll uncover a world that's both fascinating and frightening. We'll explore the worst crimes committed on the dark web, from cybercrimes to human trafficking, and examine the ways in which we can stay safe while exploring this mysterious world. So, let's keep moving forward and see what we can discover. In conclusion, the dark web is a complex and multifaceted world that's both fascinating and frightening. It's a place where anonymity and security coexist with crime and corruption, where the rules of the regular internet don't apply. As we've explored the worst crimes committed on the dark web, we've seen the darker side of human nature, the side that's driven by greed, lust, and a desire for power. But, as we've also seen, the dark web is not just about crime and corruption. It's also about the people who use it, the whistleblowers, activists, and ordinary citizens who use the dark web to communicate securely and protect their identities. We've examined some of the most compelling stories of dark web use, from the NSA leaks to the anonymous hacking collective. As we navigate the dark web, it's essential to remember that it's not a separate entity from the regular internet. It's a part of the same ecosystem, but with its own unique rules and players. We've explored some of the ways in which the dark web intersects with the regular internet, from phishing scams to malware attacks. So, what can we take away from our journey into the dark web? Firstly, it's essential to remember that the dark web is a complex and multifaceted world that's both fascinating and frightening. Secondly, it's crucial to stay safe while exploring the dark web, using VPNs, avoiding suspicious links, and being aware of the risks. And finally, it's essential to remember that the dark web is not just about crime and corruption. It's also about the people who use it and the ways in which we can use it to protect ourselves and our identities. As we continue our exploration of the dark web, we'll uncover even more fascinating and frightening stories. We'll examine the latest trends and developments in the world of cybercrime and explore the ways in which we can stay safe while exploring this mysterious world. So, let's keep moving forward and see what we can discover. The worst crimes committed on the dark web are a sobering reminder of the darker side of human nature. From cyber crimes to human trafficking, these crimes are a testament to the power of greed, lust, and a desire for power. But, as we've seen, the dark web is not just about crime and corruption. It's also about the people who use it and the ways in which we can use it to protect ourselves and our identities. As we conclude our exploration of the dark web, we'll leave you with a final thought. The dark web is a complex and multifaceted world that's both fascinating and frightening. It's a place where anonymity and security coexist with crime and corruption, where the rules of the regular internet don't apply. But, as we've seen, the dark web is also a place of opportunity, a place where we can use our skills and knowledge to make a difference and to protect ourselves and our identities. So, as you continue your journey into the world of cybersecurity, remember to stay safe, stay informed, and stay vigilant. The dark web may be a mysterious and frightening place, but it's also a place of endless possibility, a place where you can make a difference and change the world. From child exploitation to cyber threats, the dark web is a breeding ground for some of the most heinous crimes. As we navigate this treacherous landscape, it's essential to understand the anatomy of a dark web crime. What drives these perpetrators to commit such atrocities, and how can we protect ourselves from their threats? Imagine walking into a market where human beings are bought and sold like commodities. This is the reality of the dark web's human trafficking scene. Victims are sold, traded, and exploited, often under the guise of legitimate job opportunities or romantic relationships. The scale of this issue is staggering, with estimates suggesting that millions of people are trapped in this cycle of exploitation. But human trafficking is just the tip of the iceberg. The dark web is also a hub for cyber threats, including ransomware and DDoS attacks. These types of cybercrimes have become increasingly common, with hackers using the dark web to coordinate their efforts and evade law enforcement. Ransomware, in particular, has become a lucrative business, with hackers demanding millions of dollars in exchange for restoring access to encrypted data. So, how do these cyber threats work? Imagine your computer or smartphone has been infected with malware, and you're unable to access your files or communicate with others. This is the reality of a ransomware attack. Hackers use encrypted messages to demand payment in exchange for the decryption key, often using anonymous payment methods like Bitcoin to remain untraceable. But it's not just individuals who are vulnerable to these threats. Businesses and organizations are also being targeted, with hackers using DDoS attacks to disrupt operations and extort money. Imagine a hospital's website being taken down, preventing patients from accessing critical information or booking appointments. This is the kind of disruption that DDoS attacks can cause, and it's a reminder of the devastating consequences of these cyber threats. So, how can we protect ourselves from these threats? The answer lies in being aware of the tactics used by dark web perpetrators and taking proactive measures to secure our online presence. This includes using strong passwords, enabling two-factor authentication, and keeping software up to date. It also means being cautious when clicking on links or downloading attachments from unknown sources. But awareness is just the first step. We need to take action to prevent these crimes from happening in the first place. This includes supporting organizations that work to combat human trafficking and cyber threats, as well as advocating for policies that promote online safety and security. As we continue to explore the dark web, it's essential to remember that we're not just talking about abstract concepts. We're talking about real people who are being exploited and harmed. By understanding the anatomy of a dark web crime, we can take steps to prevent these atrocities from happening and create a safer, more secure online environment for everyone. But before we move on, let's take a step back and consider the bigger picture. What drives these perpetrators to commit such heinous crimes? Is it greed, or is it something more complex? As we delve deeper into the world of the dark web, we'll explore these questions and examine the tactics used by these perpetrators to stay one step ahead of the law. In the next section, we'll examine the role of cryptocurrencies in the dark web and how they're being used to facilitate these crimes. We'll also explore the efforts being made to combat these threats and create a safer online environment. But for now, let's keep the conversation going. What do you think is the most pressing issue when it comes to the dark web? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's continue to explore this complex and fascinating topic. As we move forward, remember that the dark web is a vast and complex landscape, full of hidden dangers and unexpected surprises. But by being aware of the risks and taking proactive measures to secure our online presence, we can navigate this treacherous terrain and create a safer, more secure online environment for everyone. You're about to enter a world that's hidden in plain sight, a place where the darkest secrets are traded and the most heinous crimes are committed. It's a world that's hard to believe exists, yet it's all too real. As we delve into the worst crimes committed on the dark web, you might be wondering, how can something so heinous be hidden in plain sight? Let's explore this together. The dark web is a breeding ground for child exploitation, a place where victims are groomed and exploited online. It's a chilling reality that's difficult to comprehend, but it's essential to understand the scope of this issue. According to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, there are over 700,000 reports of suspected child exploitation every year. These numbers are staggering, and they represent only a fraction of the true extent of this problem. As we navigate the dark web, it's essential to recognize that law enforcement faces significant challenges in tracking down and prosecuting perpetrators. The dark web is a vast and anonymous landscape, making it nearly impossible to pinpoint the location of these individuals. Even when authorities do manage to track down suspects, they often find themselves facing a complex web of encrypted communication and hidden servers. The consequences of child exploitation are devastating. Victims are left with emotional scars that can last a lifetime, and in some cases, they're forced to endure physical abuse and trauma. The impact on families and communities is also profound, as the ripple effects of these crimes can be felt for generations to come. So, how do these crimes unfold on the dark web? It's a complex and sinister process, but it often begins with the grooming of vulnerable children. Perpetrators will use social media, online gaming platforms, and other digital tools to build relationships with their victims, often under the guise of friendship or mentorship. Once a connection is established, the perpetrator will begin to exploit the child, sharing explicit content or even orchestrating physical encounters. The dark web's anonymity makes it an ideal breeding ground for these crimes. Perpetrators can hide behind layers of encryption and fake identities, making it nearly impossible for authorities to track them down. Even when investigators do manage to identify suspects, they often find themselves facing a complex web of digital evidence that's difficult to analyze. As we explore this dark landscape, it's essential to recognize the importance of online safety and how to report suspicious activity. If you suspect that someone is being exploited or abused online, you can report it to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children or your local authorities. Remember, your report could be the lifeline that saves a child from further harm. In the next section, we'll delve into the world of cyber threats and explore how the dark web is used as a launch pad for attacks on individuals and organizations. We'll examine the tactics and strategies used by cybercriminals and discuss ways to protect yourself from these threats. As we continue our journey into the dark web, it's essential to keep in mind that these crimes are not just statistics or reports. They're real people's lives being destroyed by the actions of others. The victims of child exploitation are not just numbers. They're children, families, and communities that are forever changed by the trauma they've endured. You might be wondering what drives these perpetrators to commit such atrocities. Is it greed? Is it power? Or is it something more complex? The truth is, we may never fully understand the motivations behind these crimes. But what's essential is that we acknowledge their existence and take action to prevent them. As we navigate this treacherous landscape, it's essential to keep in mind that the dark web is not just a place. It's a symptom of a larger problem. It's a reflection of our society's darker aspects, where the rule of law is often ignored and the most vulnerable are preyed upon. By understanding the worst crimes committed on the dark web, we can begin to address the root causes of these problems and work towards creating a safer, more just world for everyone. In the next section, we'll explore the world of cyber threats and examine how the dark web is used as a launch pad for attacks on individuals and organizations. We'll discuss ways to protect yourself from these threats and examine the tactics and strategies used by cybercriminals. But for now, let's take a moment to reflect on the gravity of the situation. The dark web's dirty secret is that it's a breeding ground for child exploitation, a place where victims are groomed and exploited online. It's a reality that's hard to believe, but it's essential to acknowledge its existence and take action to prevent it. As we continue our journey into the dark web, remember that you're not just a passive observer. You're a participant in this conversation. Your engagement, your questions, and your concerns are all essential to this discussion. By working together, we can create a safer, more just world for everyone. So, let's keep exploring this complex landscape, and let's work towards a future where the worst crimes committed on the dark web are a thing of the past. Imagine a world where fake videos and audio can be used to manipulate and deceive. Welcome to the dark web. You've heard of deepfakes, those AI-generated videos or audio that can make you look like someone else, or even make a politician's words sound like a lie. But have you ever stopped to think about the potential consequences of this technology? It's no secret that the dark web is a breeding ground for some of the most heinous crimes. But what's even more insidious is the way deepfakes can be used to wreak havoc on politics, business, and personal relationships. Imagine a world where a fake video of a CEO making racist comments can bring down a company's stock price, or a deepfake audio of a politician making a false statement can sway a presidential election. But how do deepfakes work? Essentially, they're created using artificial intelligence algorithms that can manipulate video and audio files to make them appear real. These algorithms can be trained on vast amounts of data, including facial expressions, body language, and even tone of voice. The result is a video or audio clip that's almost indistinguishable from the real thing. As we explore the ethics of deepfakes, it's essential to consider the potential consequences of this technology. On one hand, deepfakes can be used to create parody or satire, allowing us to poke fun at serious issues in a way that's both humorous and thought-provoking. On the other hand, deepfakes can be used to spread misinformation and propaganda, undermining trust in institutions and even sparking violence. So, how can you spot a deepfake? The answer is, it's not always easy. But here are a few tips to keep in mind. First, look for inconsistencies in the video or audio clip. Are there any glitches or artifacts that stand out? Second, check the source of the video or audio clip. Is it coming from a reputable news organization or a social media platform? Third, pay attention to the context in which the video or audio clip is being presented. Is it being used to manipulate public opinion or to push a particular agenda? As we navigate this new era of dark web threats, it's essential to be aware of the potential risks and consequences of deepfakes. But it's also essential to remember that deepfakes are not just a threat to politics and business. They're also a threat to personal relationships. Imagine a world where a fake video of you can be used to ruin your reputation or even get you fired from your job. In the next section, we'll explore the ways in which deepfakes can be used to manipulate personal relationships. We'll look at the ways in which deepfakes can be used to create fake online personas, and the ways in which they can be used to manipulate people into doing things they wouldn't normally do. It's a world that's both fascinating and terrifying, and one that raises important questions about the nature of identity and reality. But for now, let's take a closer look at the ways in which deepfakes are being used in the dark web. As we've seen, deepfakes can be used to create fake videos and audio clips that can be used to manipulate public opinion. But they can also be used to create fake online personas, allowing people to hide behind a mask of anonymity and deception. In the dark web, deepfakes are being used to create fake profiles that can be used to scam people out of their money or their personal information. These profiles often include fake photos and videos that are designed to make the person behind the profile seem trustworthy and legitimate. But the reality is that these profiles are often being used to manipulate people into doing things that can put them at risk. As we explore the dark web, it's essential to be aware of the potential risks and consequences of deepfakes. But it's also essential to remember that deepfakes are not just a threat to politics and business. They're also a threat to personal relationships. By understanding the ways in which deepfakes work and the ways in which they can be used to manipulate people, we can better protect ourselves and our loved ones from these emerging threats. The rise of deepfakes is a wake-up call for all of us. It's a reminder that the dark web is a place where the rules don't apply and where the consequences of our actions can be devastating. But it's also a reminder that we have the power to create a better world, a world where truth and transparency are valued above all else. By being aware of the potential risks and consequences of deepfakes, we can better navigate this new era of dark web threats and create a safer, more secure world for ourselves and our loved ones. You've heard about the dark web, but have you ever stopped to think about its long-term effects on the people who get caught up in its web of exploitation? As we continue to explore the worst crimes committed on the dark web, it's essential to consider the impact on mental health. Imagine being a victim of online harassment, identity theft, or even child exploitation. The experience can be so traumatic that it leaves you with PTSD, anxiety, and depression. These are not just abstract concepts. They're the harsh realities faced by many people who've been targeted by dark web predators. You might wonder, what are the long-term effects of being a victim of dark web exploitation? Let's dive in and find out. For many, the experience is like living in a nightmare that refuses to end. The constant fear of being watched, the feeling of being powerless, and the weight of secrecy can take a devastating toll on mental health. It's not just the immediate aftermath. The effects can linger for years, even a lifetime. Think about it. You might have to live with the knowledge that your deepest secrets are out there, exposed for the world to see. The shame, the guilt, and the anxiety can become overwhelming, making it challenging to cope with everyday life. The dark web can also be a breeding ground for mental health misinformation and exploitation. Predators often use tactics like gaslighting, manipulating victims into doubting their own sanity, or even convincing them that they're to blame for their own exploitation. This can lead to further suffering, as victims become trapped in a cycle of self-doubt and shame. It's essential to recognize that these tactics are not just used by individuals. They're also employed by organized groups and syndicates that prey on the vulnerable. So, what can we do to support those affected by dark web exploitation? It starts with acknowledging the severity of the issue and providing resources for mental health support. This includes counseling, therapy, and online support groups that offer a safe space for victims to share their experiences and connect with others who understand what they're going through. It's also crucial to raise awareness about the warning signs of dark web exploitation, so people can take proactive steps to protect themselves and their loved ones. Imagine if you were a close friend or family member of someone who's been exploited on the dark web. How would you feel? Frustrated, helpless, or maybe even ashamed? It's essential to remember that mental health support is not just about the individual. It's also about building a supportive community that can help them heal and recover. By working together, we can create a safer, more compassionate world where people feel empowered to speak out against exploitation and seek help when needed. As we continue to explore the darker side of the internet, it's essential to remember that the impact of dark web exploitation goes far beyond the individual. It affects families, communities, and society as a whole. By shedding light on this issue and providing support for those affected, we can take a crucial step towards creating a safer online environment for everyone. So, let's keep the conversation going and work together to make a difference. What do you think is the most critical aspect of supporting victims of dark web exploitation? Share your thoughts in the comments below. From terrorism to murder, the dark web is fueling some of the world's most heinous crimes. You might think of the dark web as a place where people anonymously buy and sell illicit goods, but its impact goes far beyond that. It's a breeding ground for some of the most violent and destructive acts committed on our planet. Imagine you're investigating a terrorist attack in a major city. The police are struggling to find leads, and the only way to track down the perpetrators is through their digital footprints. That's where the dark web comes in. A study by the cybersecurity firm Flashpoint found that over 50 of terrorist organizations use the dark web to communicate and coordinate their attacks. These groups use encrypted messaging apps and hidden forums to plan and execute their operations, often with devastating consequences. But terrorism is just the tip of the iceberg. The dark web has also been linked to several high-profile murder cases. In 2018, a serial killer in the United States was caught after investigators discovered he was using the dark web to sell his victims' personal belongings. The killer had created a fake online persona to lure his victims into a trap, and the dark web provided him with the perfect platform to do so. It's not just terrorists and serial killers who are using the dark web to commit crimes. Human trafficking and armed robbery are also on the rise, thanks to the dark web's anonymity and ease of use. In 2020, a group of hackers was arrested for using the dark web to steal sensitive information from a major corporation. The hackers had created a sophisticated phishing scheme, using fake emails and websites to trick employees into revealing their login credentials. So, how does the dark web enable these crimes? It's simple. The dark web provides a platform for anonymity and secrecy. Without the dark web, these crimes would be much more difficult to commit, and investigators would have a much easier time tracking down the perpetrators. But with the dark web, it's like a veil of secrecy is cast over the entire operation, making it almost impossible to detect. This is where we need to start thinking about the role of the dark web in driving real-world crime. How can we prevent these crimes from happening in the first place? By understanding the dark web and its capabilities, we can begin to develop strategies to combat its use in criminal activities. For instance, law enforcement agencies are starting to use AI-powered tools to track down dark web activity. These tools can analyze vast amounts of data and identify patterns that might indicate a crime is being committed. But it's not just about the technology, it's also about educating people about the dangers of the dark web. As we continue to explore the worst crimes committed on the dark web, it's essential to understand the complexities of this issue. The dark web is not just a platform for buying and selling illicit goods. It's a breeding ground for some of the most violent and destructive acts committed on our planet. By shining a light on the dark web's connection to real-world crimes, we can start to develop strategies to prevent these crimes from happening in the first place. But before we can do that, we need to understand the dark web on a deeper level. What drives people to use the dark web for nefarious purposes? What are the consequences of using the dark web? And how can we prevent these consequences from happening? These are the questions we'll be exploring in the next section of our journey into the world of the dark web. You've been following our journey through the dark web's darkest corners, exploring the crimes that take place within its encrypted shadows. From human trafficking to cyber attacks, the scope of the issue is staggering. But what about the law enforcement agencies tasked with fighting back? How are they combating the dark web's dark forces? It's a daunting task, to say the least. Tracking down and prosecuting perpetrators of dark web crimes is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. The dark web's anonymity and encryption make it a perfect breeding ground for illicit activities. Law enforcement agencies face significant challenges in gathering evidence, identifying suspects, and building cases. Imagine being a detective tasked with solving a murder that took place on the dark web. You'd have to navigate a complex web of online transactions, encrypted messages, and cryptocurrency transactions. It's a daunting task, requiring specialized skills and expertise. But law enforcement agencies are not giving up. They're developing new technologies and strategies to combat dark web crime. One example is the use of artificial intelligence to analyze online activity and identify potential threats. Law enforcement agencies are also working with tech companies to develop new tools and software that can help track down dark web perpetrators. It's a cat-and-mouse game, with law enforcement agencies constantly adapting to new technologies and tactics. But fighting dark web crime is not just about technology. It's also about collaboration and information sharing. Law enforcement agencies are working together across borders to share intelligence and best practices. They're also engaging with the public, raising awareness about the risks of the dark web and the importance of online safety. Take the case of a recent operation that targeted a major dark web marketplace. Law enforcement agencies from around the world worked together to take down the site, seizing millions of dollars in cryptocurrency and arresting dozens of suspects. It was a significant victory, but it's just one example of the many challenges that law enforcement agencies face in fighting dark web crime. As we continue to explore the dark web's darkest corners, it's essential to recognize the importance of collaboration and information sharing in the fight against crime. By working together, law enforcement agencies can make a real difference in keeping our communities safe. But it's not just about law enforcement. We all have a role to play in fighting dark web crime. By being aware of the risks and taking steps to protect ourselves online, we can help prevent these crimes from happening in the first place. So what can you do to help? Stay informed about online safety and the risks of the dark web. Use strong passwords and two-factor authentication to protect your online accounts. And if you ever suspect that someone is using the dark web for illicit activities, report it to the authorities. The fight against dark web crime is ongoing, and it's a battle that requires our collective effort. By working together, we can make a real difference in keeping our communities safe and preventing these crimes from happening in the first place. Here's the script content for the current section. You've made it to the end of our journey through the darkest corners of the dark web. From child exploitation to deep fakes, we've explored the worst crimes committed on this encrypted shadow world. But now it's time to think about what you can do to stay safe in a darker world. Imagine if you were a victim of online harassment or identity theft. How would you feel? You might feel powerless, scared, and unsure of what to do. But the truth is, you do have control over your online safety and security. By following some simple best practices, you can significantly reduce your risk of falling victim to dark web crimes. First, be aware of online safety and security best practices. This means using strong, unique passwords for all your accounts, enabling two-factor authentication whenever possible, and regularly updating your software and operating system. It may seem like a lot to take in, but trust me, it's worth it. You can't put a price on your online safety. But being aware of online safety is just the first step. You also need to report suspicious activity and support victims of dark web exploitation. If you come across a suspicious website or social media post, don't ignore it. Report it to the relevant authorities and help keep your online community safe. And if you know someone who's been a victim of online harassment or exploitation, reach out to them and offer your support. Finally, stay informed and up to date on the latest developments in dark web crime. This means following reputable sources of news and information and staying engaged with online communities that share your concerns. By staying informed, you can make more informed decisions about your online safety and security. So, what do you think is the most pressing issue related to dark web crime? Is it child exploitation, or deep fakes, or something else entirely? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. By working together, we can create a safer, more secure online world for everyone. But before we go, let's take a step back and think about the bigger picture. The dark web may seem like a distant, abstract threat, but it's a reality that affects us all. And by taking simple steps to protect ourselves and others, we can make a real difference. So, what will you do to stay safe in a darker world? Will you take action, or will you wait for someone else to do it for you? The choice is yours.